Hey everyone, I've had a lot of comments requesting a part 2 to my niche research video, so I guess that's an area where a lot of people are struggling. If you haven't watched part 1, then I would recommend that you go back and watch that first, as I cover some things in this video that may not make sense unless you've watched it. So by popular demand, here is part 2, showing you another method that I personally use to find desirable niches to publish in. Okay, so let's jump into how I do my niche research. For this example, we're going to use Etsy. And what I tend to do is put the word printable in the search bar, followed by journal or logbook or planner. And then I'll just go through all of the things I find, try and get some ideas, and then I'll put all the ideas into a notepad, and then I'll dive a bit deeper in Amazon and check whether there's any demand for these type of books. And if they're pretty popular ideas, I'll then try to niche down. Right, so let's begin. So as you can see, we're looking at people that sell printables. And these are basically digital downloads that customers can print out and fill in themselves. And it's a good place to get ideas for potential books. And you can also see the quality of the actual interiors, which will give you more ideas on things you can do and how you can change it to put your own spin on it. And while we're on the subject of printables, as well as Amazon KDP, I also sell printables on Etsy, because it just makes sense. Like if you've created an interior from scratch for a book that you sell on Amazon, then why not take those pages and then create a printable that you can sell on Etsy? And again, it becomes passive, because once you put the work in to put your printable on Etsy, you then have to do zero work to make money. So the customer would click on your printable, they'd buy it, and then Etsy sends them a link to download your file that contains the printable. And that's it. I went a bit off topic there, but let me know in the comments if you would like to see a video on how I create printables for Etsy. Okay, so we're going to go through and we're going to add things to my notes. So this one looks like a reading journal, which I've covered before in part 1. So we won't add that. I wouldn't really add the password tracker because that's so saturated and I wouldn't really know how to niche that down. But I would add the baby logbook. That could be pretty good. So I'll add that to the notes. Okay, so that's another reading log there. They're all the same. So here we've got a hiking planner or a camping planner. We can add that. Okay, let's move on. Reading journals are very popular. So here we have a vehicle maintenance log, which we can add. So as I mentioned earlier about niching down, we can take the vehicle maintenance log, for example, and then we can target cars, so car maintenance, van maintenance, trucks, lorries, boats, and there's probably a lot of other things we can add to that, but you get the idea. So already you've potentially got like over 5 different sub niches you could target. So it's always good to keep an open mind and try to think outside the box when you're getting ideas. Okay, we've got a donation log there. Okay, so there's way too many reading logs here. And then we can play about with the search. So we can add for women, for example, and see what that returns. Hopefully not tons of reading journals, which it looks like there is. But we've got a gardening planner there, so we can add that. There's a communication log there. Let's keep going. Right, so you've got a barn manager's logbook, and there's a lot of reviews for that, so that obviously must be in need. And obviously that's for horses, so you can sort of try and think of what other things to do with horses that you could add. Like you could do a horse trainer's log, or a horse care log if you've personally got a horse, or a show jumping log. Okay, and there we've got a diabetes logbook that we can add. And then you could start thinking of all the various health related logbooks. So you've got blood sugar, like you can have a Crohn's disease logbook where you might write different foods that give you like flare-ups or things like that. So there's 100 different routes we could take with the health related logbooks. But moving on. Coin inventory notebook. I have seen the coin inventory niche before, and I do think the BSR was really good from what I can remember. So we'll definitely add that to the list. There's another vehicle maintenance. So that's another sub niche from the reading log. You could focus on Bible reading, and then you could spin off into other different religious books. Accounting ledger, very popular niche, but again, you could niche down. So there's another one, aquarium logbook. So people that like to go to different aquariums, rate them, put the reviews, what they liked about them, what they didn't, how good the fish were, blah blah blah. So obviously you can think of different things, like you could do one for museums or art galleries or zoos. And another thing that's quite popular in England is visiting castles all around the UK. So a castle visiting logbook where they can review them against each other. But again, you can apply this to so many different niches. And here we have a running log, walking log. And I clicked on this because that's a really interesting interior. So I think for every mile that they run, they can sort of colour in each one of these blocks. But you could use the same sort of concept for a KDP book. So you can do one page for every time they run, and then they can colour in how many kilometres they've done or how many steps. And as I mentioned before in part 1 to this video regarding the book log, people like visual progress. When a person finished a book, they could add the book title to the bookshelf that was on the page, and then that shows them visual progress, and it sort of motivates you to carry on. So that's always a good touch. Okay, so I didn't want to make the video too long, but I'm sure you get the idea. You can also use the same process with journals, planners, colouring books, etc. And don't forget to add for men, women or kids at the end to give you more options. And then once you have a big enough list, you can go over to Amazon and look for more targeted niche ideas. Okay, so now I've come over to Amazon and we're going to take the first example, which is baby logbook, and then I'm going to try and niche down a bit further. So I'll go through all the products and see if there's any sub niches I could get into or any spin-offs, and then I'll add those to my list. Okay. So most of these baby logbooks look like they're designed to record feeding, sleeping, and diaper changes. And before I try to get some more sub niches, I'm just going to check to see if this particular niche is saturated or not. And we'll use the method I showed you in part 1. So we'll click on books. And then we'll go to paperback. And then last 90 days. And then we'll take a look at the BSRs to see if there are many under 1 million. So that one is, and that was published about a month ago. You've got one there that's sold. Okay, so it looks pretty saturated to me. There's only a couple books out of the first 2 pages that have sold, which tells me that it might be quite hard to penetrate this market. However, I do see a nanny daily log here. So that is a spin-off for one of our sub-niches. So we could add that to the list and do some more investigating. Okay, we'll carry on the search. You could add child's health record. So this is a good example of niching down. So this is a baby care logbook, which is designed for twins. And the BSR is really good, good reviews. And I'd imagine there'd be a lot less competition for twins. So we'll add that to the list. Here we have a baby shower gift recorder. Good reviews, very highly priced for some reason, and an OK BSR. We'll take a look inside just to see why it's so expensive. Okay, so it's a coloured interior, so that's why it's priced a little bit higher. But very basic design, something you can easily replicate and put your own touch on. And there's room for 188 gifts. So the person that buys this must be very popular. But we'll add that to the list as well, because that seems pretty good. And there you've also got a baby shower guest book, where people can leave messages and well wishes. So we'll add that to the list, but we'll also take a quick look inside just to see how complicated it is. Okay, so that's pretty easy. So it's simply guest name, well wishes for the baby, and advice for the parents. And it's 2 guests to each page. So simple as you like to recreate. Okay, so as you can see, just from that one niche, we've been able to spin off into 5 other different niches. So it's always good to keep an open mind. I could go through and find a lot more and probably dive even deeper into the sub niches, but you get the idea, and I think this list will keep you busy for a while because there are a lot of different ideas here. So from this list of 17 niches, if you found 5 other sub niches, that would give you 85 potential niches to publish in, at least. So hopefully you've watched part 1 to this video already. If you haven't, I would recommend watching that first, obviously, because that's where I explain how I use the BSRs, which is the bestseller rank, to determine whether or not I would publish in certain niches. I have got more niche finding methods to share with you soon, so be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on those. And if this video has helped you in any way, then please drop a like. Also, feel free to join my private Facebook group if you want to learn more about publishing on Amazon. Our group is growing nicely now and is full of really helpful people who are consistently making money on the side from Amazon. So the problems and challenges that you may face as a beginner to KDP, they have probably already encountered them and can provide solutions or guidance that will of course save you a lot of time trying to figure out on your own. So I'll see you in the next video. Take care.